Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Return of the Obra Dinn. Um, we went through a lot of stuff and got into some heavy scenes here in one of the chapters here. We left the end and went two chapters back to the Doom. And we saw that this ship got taken out, or was attacked by a sea kraken, essentially. So right now we just finished going through all of these deaths on the deck here from that the game had showed us. And now we are going to look for our next person that we need to identify. Ah, yes. So yeah, the different sections of the ship, how this works in this game is that as you go through a scene in the game or go through a chapter in the game where people are coming up or down from a section that you haven't opened up before, when you exit the death scene, you'll be able to go down to that deck. Alright, so down in here we have this person. I think there was a couple more. Yeah, everything's kind of unlocked procedurally as it becomes available from the scenes. It'll open up when you come out of those scenes. Alright, I thought there was actually like two bodies down here at the start, but I guess not. So we'll start with this unfortunate soul behind this cannon. Alright, so over here we got those two more nicely dressed crew members from that set of three there. We can see that this loose cannon essentially crushed this guy in the throat and crushed him in general. Can't identify him yet. We have another person dead right there. I think, yeah, this is Martin. Okay, there's that guy again. Sometimes it's a little hard because there's no, like, reticle to know where you're looking. There we go. And there is that guy. We have no idea who they are yet, but we do know they got crushed by a cannon. Okay, and this is the next person that they want us to look at. So again, when you do that, it'll take you back out of the sequence there. And then you click action again, and it sends off the mist or whatever you want to refer to it that you have to watch until it goes to where they died. Wait for her to hold the watch again, and click to let it go. Okay, that sounds like someone getting crushed. Okay, so we have him there. That guy. And then him again. Those guys are standing over there. Alright, that's our victim. So he got shot by a cannon, and there's a tentacle around the cannon. Alright, anyone else down here in this scene at the moment? Again, it's always important to make sure, even if they're not one of the people that died, that you find as many of the people in the scene as you can. That way you have an idea of what happened at that moment. Now, if we could go back up, we'd want to go up to the top deck and see if anyone was there. Well. Shot with a cannon by the beast, essentially. She put the watch away. Some of these bodies, they're a little bit picky with where you have to be facing and holding the watch for them to go off. See what I mean? Okay, so I think that was the other guy that died. He was in front of the cannon. Yeah, he was right on the cannon. He was right behind him. He essentially got crushed by it. And it's those same three people right there. So obviously what's going on is in this past couple of scenes, they were trying to light the cannons and shoot this thing. Nope, not what I wanted to do. So these sequences right down here, they're the death shot. And this is all of the dialogue recorded from that scene that you just saw. So in case you were wondering what that was, because I hadn't actually gone over it yet, and you were wondering how to look at the look at all of the dialogue that you just heard and the death shot without actually going back through the scene, that's how you would do it. Right under the picture of everyone that's died, the next section is the replay with all the dialogue, essentially. It doesn't actually replay it, but it will show you all the dialogue said in the scene, picture of the scene. So he was basically crushed by the beast, more or less, because the beast squished the cannon against him. Alright, so that's you. Yep, you were blasted by the cannon. Alright, we'll go over this now since it's talking about it now. Memories where this person appears can be navigated from here. This soul appears in two memories, their first memory and then where they died. Bookmark all memories where they appear for quicker navigation. So I feel that is something else that a lot of people don't do from what little I've watched other people play this is not only will they not use the table of contents to flip back and then quickly go to where they want to go, let alone using the map of the journey that they took and where they are in each chapter, along with the map of the ship to see where they are standing at the moment. but they won't bookmark people to quickly go between the different scenes that only have that person. That's actually very handy to do. Alright, so you were behind him, so you were also just... No, not speared. You were shot by a cannon. No, from the beast. And then just remove bookmarks when you want to remove it. Okay, so that's those three people from those couple of scenes. We are actually all done with this part right now. Okay, so... so if you have it over someone's death, and you hit the book, it'll flip right to that part of the chapter that person died on. That's basically what that message was saying. I'm actually trying to make sure that this was the person in the hat, though. Which again, yeah, because there's no way to tell where you're looking. That can be a bit of an annoying thing to go deal with there. Okay, so moving on. Now we'll go through the ship a little more. Oh, there's some blood outside this door. So here's one of those points. Well, I'm going to open this. We do have a body in here. Let's see where on the map we are. We are inside the midshipmen's quarters. So yeah, you'd click once to open the watch. If you click again, I haven't gone over this just because we've been going from scene to scene and having multiple deaths within a scene to go at. But when you click again after it's already starting to black wipe, it'll close the watch.
Oh no, you're cut.
Don't leave me.
Bear up, son. I'll stay with you.
Tell Pete's mother I tried my best
Aye.
to pull him back, to save him.
Alright,
You
so
tell her yourself.
there's two hints for us.
Brennan, bring the surgeon's kit.
There's two names for us, and a third hit that's not quite so obvious. Alright, so here we have the first mate again. Here we have one of those three, so obviously he crawled his way from over here, from that, leaving that huge blood trail, all the way into the midshipman's room, so we can comfortably say that these three people are the midshipmen. So that was the first mate. So out here, so we have this guy here. We have this guy who's been in a number of scenes, and we got these two dead here. I'll go over them in a second here. So William called the name Brennan, and the guy that's in the beanie had answered. Essentially, he had turned his head and like held up his hand to listen. Right, so here's where that one thing I was talking about will come into play. We're going to select try anyways, and we're not going to fully identify him. But we know from the fact that he crawled into the midshipman's room that he is most likely one of them. So we're going to say he's an unknown midshipman. Yeah, then we'll open the watch again, see what happened to this guy.
What's all this, you damn fool?
Okay, so there's that guy. And he's clubbing this guy in the face, and it looks like this guy might have shot this guy. As there's his hat, and yeah, part of his head's missing. So you got those three. Here's William. Seeing this blood trail and watching this guy crawl into the chamber there. That's all we know right now from looking at him is he got knifed. He was knifed from someone over here. Yeah, it's that guy. Okay, now we are on Chapter 9, The Escape. Okay, well, we don't know who this is, but I'm gonna say he got clubbed. And due to the previous scene, I'm going to say the guy clubbing him there is Brennan. So under the seaman, we have a Henry Brennan, and that is the only one with that last name. Alright, so let's see. This is the one that counts for identifying him. So we're going to say that that's Henry Brennan. Okay, you were unknown midshipman that got knifed. So here's something else we can do. So we know that this guy, these three are all dressed similarly. We know he was knifed and we knew he exploded. We don't know what happened to him yet. These three are all standing together. He's a midshipman and they're all dressed similarly. We'll identify him in a second. I'll come back to that in a moment. So I know that these three are the midshipmen. So we're just going to come here and mark you as a midshipman as well. Okay, now we'll see what happened to this guy here. Now, as you can probably tell, like, William and Abigail are Scottish, and William does have a Scottish accent, so if you can pick those things out in the scenes, it'll be easier to determine who some of them are.
You have a plan? Yes. Take ship for southeast. Trade dredged fish and shells for gold. Hey, who's that?
Mutiny! Mutiny!
Fresh bastard.
So I have the officer there. Shot him in the head, blowing off part of his skull. Alright, it looks like this guy might have been the one that stabbed him, but we can't be sure. Up here we have Henry right there. There's the first mate. Anyone else up here? Okay, there's the captain. We have this bloody spat over here that we're probably going to have to be dealing with next. Well, I don't know who they are, but we do know they were shot with a gun by an officer. So again, you can do that for the person killing them. You can narrow down who they are for the person being killed and the person that killed them. So like we don't know who the other two well, we don't know who the midshipmen are. But we know they're midshipmen, and we know this guy was killed by an officer. Yep, now they want us to come over and check out the stuff up here. Alright, let's take a look at what happened here.
Let them go!
Alright, so there's Henry and the first mate. There's the captain. That guy is dead on the ground. He got shot by this ugly fat cow here. And there's that person who's dressed rather nicely on the boat as well. You got that person there. And there's the other woman. So you got the two women, him, and then that guy on the other side of the boat there, releasing it from the main ship there that are on that lifeboat. Yeah, so we can't identify who he is, but we know that he was shot, gun, by a unknown passenger, because obviously the three females were not crew members. Well, we gotta, sorry, just yawning a bit there. Now I just gotta watch this loop around, although it's gonna just go right back here.
Last one. Move quick.
You'll not take the last punch!
Okay, right there we heard another name. Okay, so this... yeah, this is probably Paul because we can name him. And yeah, that's who this woman was talking towards. There's that guy. There's the captain coming up. He fires the gun right there. And there's the first man, Henry, running over from there. If we come down there, here's this midshipman listening to these guys talk. There's that officer, there's that guy, there's this guy with his arm missing. Are we able to say stabbed? No, killed with a sword. I'm not sure which one he has right now, so I'm just gonna say he was killed by a sword. So this is obviously Paul. And it looks like the first mate steward is the only person with the name Paul. It's looking here. We have this officer here, this guy. And there's the guy that's missing the arm. And if you remember, back in the scene where Abigail got killed, the Kraken had his tentacle wrapped around this guy's arm that's missing. And now we're going to be getting into this scene. And I've only got a couple minutes left, so this might be the last death that we do for this video. Just going to sit here for a moment and watch that. Again, like I said, you actually have to keep it in sight. You can't run ahead of this, otherwise it doesn't move.
Put me down. Let go.
Easy now. You're in a bad way.
This is good. Where is my Frenchman?
Right, there's a hint.
Your mate was torn apart.
That
There is another clue.
beast is dead. How? How did you kill it?
We didn't. It left with the storm. Captain came up from the hold. Said he chased it off. You should rest.
A curse like that does not live for nothing.
So this is when he died, but it's clearly from having his arm ripped off that he died. Okay, so that's that guy. He gave us 2 clues. Both of them can be used to identify him. There's 2 that are with him. Hey, there's that midshipman coming up from there. There's the captain coming up from what he was doing. I don't think... No, we can't get past the captain. And right there we have the first mate coming out. So see, we are actually by the first mate's room. Be another clue to tell that this was the first mate. He's heading out of the first mate's quarters. Now I'm kind of just waiting for this to wipe out. There we go. So, if you're fluent at all with languages without looking it up, Verdampt will tell you who he is because it'll give you his origins. And the other clue that you can use, which is actually a little more helpful because it helps you identify him and someone else, is he was asking for his Frenchman, meaning he was probably an officer that had a mate. So know that he was died. Essentially torn apart by the beast. So, right there, where's my Frenchman? So someone on the boat's obviously French. If it's his Frenchman, it's his steward or mate that works under him. So again, this is where we go back. We check out the crew. Charles Minor is from France. He's the bosun's mate. So with that said, you are probably the bosun. Sketches. Do we actually have 3 people identified right now? Okay, we don't know who you are. We can't identify you two. We can't identify you. Okay, so we can identify him. And there is a way for me to show you how you can do that this early on here in a second. I just got to flip back a little bit to get to the point here where I want to be. Okay, so we got Henry. Who else do we have right now besides him? Oh yeah, we have Henry and we have the bosun, so yeah. Well, no, because we don't have Paul's attacker. Henry we do, and the bosun we do. So the bosun is from Austria. Verdammt is Austrian for damn it. That would be your clue to that. And then he mentions the Frenchman, which, as I said, is the bigger clue and the one that you want to pay a little more attention to, because that tells you who he is and who his mate is. Identifies someone else. Alright, so I need to find when the one midshipman got murdered here is what I'm looking for. I know we're running over a little bit, but this is the last thing we're doing, so don't worry too much. Okay, yeah, right here. So and we're going to use the bookmark here to figure this out. So you click these, by the way, to go back and forth between the different pages that just have them. Alright, so he's in this sequence with him. So these are the only 2 that were in this sequence where this guy died. He mentioned someone named Pete. So we do have a Peter Milroy who was a midshipman. Let's see, so Henry, Peter, and then the bosun. I'm surprised it's not given me it yet. Is there something else I could use? I mean, your arm was just literally ripped off. There's not really much else that says what the heck happened to you. I just want to check something on the passengers here. Nope. Hmm. Typically, oh, okay, so yeah, Paul doesn't count, but we do have Henry and him completely done, as well as Peter. All right, well, we've already gone 6 minutes over, so I'm actually going to call it here after we exit back through the door from the scene here. And I'm probably just going to fiddle with everything a little bit. Off stream to make sure that I got those 3 deaths done correctly. Okay, now obviously we could identify those 2, but that's just because they're the only other 2 females. But we don't know what happened to them. And I'll cover what happened with that lifeboat in the next video. So if you want to know what happened to our 4 people that tried to escape by a boat here, tune in next time, and you shall see what happened. Let me just... Frozen, torn apart by the beast. Clubbed by the captain. Well, hang on here. There we go. He wasn't dead when he got clubbed. It's when the captain quote-unquote knifed him by cutting his throat that he died. Alright. Yeah, this game can be tricky like that. Sometimes what you initially see is... Alright. Let's exit back out of here now. Yeah, sometimes the very first hit you see on one of the crew members is not what killed them, and it's not what you need to put down. We do have a leg hanging right there that we can check. We now have access to the deck down here. But again, all that will be for next time. And next time, I'll kind of go over how to determine what happened to those 4 people trying to leave on the lifeboat. So until then, remember, until the next episode, everybody, if you liked the video, leave a like, comment if you wish. Stop by Twitch, because, again, I've been streaming a lot more than doing Let's Plays, and when we come back, I'll discuss how to figure out what happened to the people on the lifeboat a little bit, and we'll look for our next few bodies of the crew members to figure out what happened. Goodbye.